Hello, gang. It's another episode of Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
And I'm Sherry.
I'm Colette.
You know, we are very excited to be here 2 months in a row.
That doesn't happen often anymore, does it?
I know, it's ridiculous. But we're back on track, and it's a good thing. And boy, we're really going to come at you today with a 1-2 punch. This particular novel is recommended, I think, by Sherry.
Definitely by me.
Yes. And, I was dragging ass about it because just the title alone put me off. Last time we spoke, if you guys watched last time, I'm like, oh, God, what? So she talked me into it, and then she had to go brag about, on social media that she, talked me into it. So
it wasn't just me.
So we're actually looking forward to chatting about this particular book, and I'm sure it's going to be entertaining at the least. So before we get right to the story, what's everybody drinking? Sherry, what you got?
I have something new today. I have this, it's been on my wish list at Amazon for like 2 years, I think. It's called Seed Lip. It's a distilled non-alcoholic spirits. It's very pretty. Very pretty.
It is pretty.
This particular one is the Grove 42. It's the citrus. They have 3 different ones. They have a botanical, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty weak. It's got a very mild flavor. And then I mixed it with tonic and reminded me that tonic is just so sweet that I don't really like tonic anymore. So I think it would be good with, if you're looking for something, I think it'd be good with just plain seltzer water,
like
club soda.
Then
and then maybe like a slice of wine or of orange, because it's got a nice orange flavor. I mean, it's just the tonic is too sweet. So that's what I'm drinking. Trying something new.
Yeah, I gave up on tonic a while back when I do my gin. Now it's just that lime flavored sparkling water business, and it's just fine.
It is. That's what I had been doing too. I think we both kind of gave up on the tonic at the same time. It overpowers the flavor of the gin.
Yeah. The hell with that.
Yeah.
So Colette, what you drinking?
I have Prosecco.
Oh, fancy!
Today.
Yeah, Prosecco with the bourbon soaked cherries, because I put them in everything.
What a brilliant idea!
Yeah,
it seems like they do go with just about everything.
Well, shit! I should have put some in my little cheap ass wine I got. What the what?
It's not too late.
I like that it looks like you're drinking it from like a jelly jar.
No, it's it's a regular Art Deco glass.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Are you kidding me? My mom
totally,
raised me. I'm not drinking from no damn jelly jar.
Have had Speedy Gonzalez on it if you had kept turning.
Come on, man! Don't give me like that. Don't even. Well, I got a cute little story for you. A couple months back, when I took Mom grocery shopping, we went to Aldi. That's one of her 5 stops when I take her grocery shopping. Trust me, I need a nap after I shop with her. Anyhow, so we were at Aldi's, and this woman had a shopping cart full of wine. And I'm like, I knew they had beer and wine, right? I'm like, okay, you think there's a hurricane coming? What the hell are they doing? They're having a party?
Isn't there always a hurricane?
I think there is always a hurricane coming.
Just about. June to December is our hurricane season, actually. So she said, no, these wines are not only cheap, but they're delicious. And I thought to myself, my inner snob came out, and I'm thinking, what? Come on, it can't be that good. So last time I was with Mom, I said, you know what? Because I'm still waiting for her to check out every damn thing on the shelf, because she's got to browse it all, like she's gonna miss them. So I'm just carting it through, and I get over to the beer and wine section, and I'm looking at these names and going, okay, these definitely don't encourage this must be delicious because the name sounds amazing, right? No. I pick up, I think it was $5.99. You ready for this? Fancy Flock.
It's fancy. It's right there in the name.
It's fancy in the name. So I'm like, I think it was $5.99. So I got into red blends lately. I don't know why. But yeah, so I cracked this open with absolutely no expectation at all. So I started drinking it. This is not my first glass, by the way. I started this bottle last weekend, I think. And
I thought you were going to say at 3:00.
no,
Yeah.
there's not that much left, actually. So
That's why I was thinking. It's been an hour.
It's actually not bad. It's got a decent alcohol content. The flavor it's not bitter. It's not sweet. It's very level. And I am not by any means a wine connoisseur, but I can tell you that it's enjoyable. If you want something just, little hangout wine, maybe little crackers or something, this is your wine for $5.99. You can't beat it.
Or crack. Take the edge off.
Somehow I think that's $1.99, but okay.
Wow.
So thank you to the lady at Aldi's.
Yeah, man, that booze with a cart. I hope I run into her again. I hope that's her usual Aldi's, and we, meet up again so I can tell her, thank you for telling me about this cheap
about Fancy Flock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't you wonder what the flock is?
I don't want to know what the flock is, honestly.
What the flock?
Like you get to the bottom of the bottle and you just see shit flying at you.
But come on now, you don't drink anything at the bottom of the bottle. You got to leave at least,
What kind of rule is that?
That's not a real thing.
No, that's wasteful.
Yep.
Please.
Yep.
No.
All right. In the sediment. All right. So what we're here to chat about today, I actually pulled it up, but I talked so damn long, my phone went on. Oh, let me just take a nap since you can't. We're going to be talking about.
Your phone is kind of bitchy.
My phone is bitchy.
You should take it in and swap it out for one that's a little less shitty to you.
That's what I'm thinking.
You deserve better.
You hear that? So we're going to be talking about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yes. And I'm so glad I didn't let the title continue to put me off, honestly.
I don't think it was the title so much that was putting you off. It was the flashbacks and shit that you were.
That too, because I think you did warn me that there were flashbacks.
Well, I mean, there had to be.
I think that was part of the synopsis when we were talking
she's
about
going back. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because it, there's basically two stories, like the current day older Hollywood starlet telling her life story.
Right.
And and as that's happening, those are all flashbacks as she's telling it. But yeah, I mean, what's wrong with the title?
I don't know. It just sounded like some tawdry Elizabeth Taylor type,
Well, that's what we kind of thought it was going to be.
That's why we picked it.
But I didn't think it was going to be as enjoyable as it was. I thought it was going to be a slog through, honestly.
Just like Elizabeth Taylor.
Ouch.
Talk about bitchy. Damn.
Oh, my dogs
drink some more of that Prosecco, Colette. Come on, drink some more Prosecco.
All right, do the blurb. Do the blurb.
I have a blurb?
You said you were going to do the blurb. Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on, y'all. I can do this.
I got it. I have it right here if you want, but you can go ahead. You're going to pull it up.
Fight.
While you're doing that, I'd like to welcome our live viewers.
Yay! We love live viewers.
And you can say hello. You can type something in the little post a comment thing. Say something thing.
Yeah, man. Please do.
Yeah.
And that'll show up in the comments.
It will. It'll show up in the comments. It should show up right for us.
But the nice thing about us is we don't mind things showing up in the comments.
We don't. We're fine with that.
Okay, I have the New York Times summary. Would you like that?
Hi, Megan. It's Megan.
I miss Megan. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Aging and reclusive Hollywood movie icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant for the job, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. Why her? Why now? Monique is not exactly on top of the world. Her husband has left her, and her professional life is going nowhere. Regardless of why Evelyn has selected her to write her biography, Monique is determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career. Summoned to Evelyn's luxurious apartment, Monique listens in fascination as the actress tells her story. From making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s, to her decision to leave show business in the 80s, and of course, the 7 husbands along the way. Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. Monique begins to feel a very real connection to the legendary star. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun,
dun. Megan stayed up until 3 a.m. finishing this book. Oh, and we should say that there I'm guessing will be spoilers galore, because I don't think it's possible.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to do this without spoilers.
I don't know that I want to. I mean, and the book has been out for a couple of years, so I mean, it's not like it's a new book.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, and I agree, because Megan says now I know why I don't read the blurbs before I start a book. The blurb doesn't do it justice. That's true, and I didn't read it either. I think I started to, but then Colette started talking about what it was about, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good." And plus, that's your jam, right? I mean, you're really into that era of Hollywood, and I know Andy, you enjoy that too. And,
I do,
but Andy would not. I don't. If you watch the last show, Andy would not commit to reading it while we were still. She's like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it offline.
Which was hilarious, right? Because then, like 5 or 6 days ago, we're coming right up to the show, and you're messaging us like, what the fuck are we reading again?
It's true. I put it so far out of my mind because I'm like, I don't want to read this, because I'm thinking, I just can't, right?
So I send you the URL, and then 12 hours later, you're like, this book is amazing. I can't stop reading this.
I kind of got the same thing happening with Megan yesterday. I told her I was reading it a couple days ago. I'm like, you need to put this one on your list. Let's, you read this. And she goes, it's already on my list. It's been on my list. And so I'm like, I love this book. I got something in my eye, and she's like, okay, fine, I'll start. And then, an hour later, this book is amazing.
Yeah. That blurb, seriously, folks, though, that blurb does not do the story justice.
I kind of wonder, though, if the blurb is purposely vague.
Well, it has to be, because it really can't give away anything. Like when we were talking about it, because I remember I had it pulled up on Goodreads, and I saw in the tags that one of the tags was LGBTQ, and I was like, oh well, there must be somebody, because we were talking, well, maybe there's somebody like Barbara Stanwyck or something like that in it. I was completely unprepared. I mean, you've got somebody who's got 7 husbands. The last thing I think is, oh, it's her.
Yeah. The biggest love of her life after 7 husbands is a fellow actress that she fell in love with. That was just, that was completely unexpected.
I believe it was marketed as literary. I mean, it's a mainstream book.
It is. It is. And then several others to her credit too.
Yeah, and like I had heard of Dusty's here. He would like to say hello.
Wasn't that nice? Hello, Dusty.
And that's what I was doing. I was trying to get him to not bark at
Yeah,
me.
through the whole blurb, like, Andy, I have no idea
He's
what
like,
you read because I was watching, sharing with them, like,
he's standing in the doorway like this.
why?
So, because he wants attention. That's what
You
he does.
You see, you never know what you're gonna on this show.
Yeah. So she's the author of Daisy Jones. Is it no? Yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six, something like that, which was really popular a couple of years ago. I think it was. It was. Excuse me. No, I'm closing the door.
Lord have mercy.
He's just gonna punch it open, but now he knows I don't want to.
Oh, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Yeah. See, now he's coming. He's laying down under my desk. That's the cue that we use. That we're done.
So
We're done now.
is that book also got a little gay in it?
I don't know. Does anybody know?
I mean, it looks like it's about a rock band in the 70s, so I don't see how it can't. You know what I mean?
She actually has shit tons of books. She's got a lot of books.
Quite a few, yeah.
I do not see. No, there doesn't appear to be any gay in the book.
Aw,
There is romance, but when I first saw her her author photo, I think she looks like Olivia Munn.
Oh. Well, that's all right.
I know, right? I was like, oh. Yeah. All right then. So okay, so the book. So go ahead.
I know that at one point you had to read with your eyeballs. Did you go back to listening?
No, once I started reading it with my eyeballs, I already had an issue kind of with the narration because it was very slow. And
yes,
I actually quite annoying.
Had to bump the speed up because I didn't feel like and I've never done that before. But I felt like they weren't speaking the speed of a normal human. So
that's what I thought too. Because I was going to bump
this is going to take me 3 weeks to get through these last 6 chapters. So I'm just going to have to go for it.
No, I decided, you know what, I'm going to read this with my eyes for a little while. And then I enjoyed it so much more. And then I had to do some reports, but I wanted to read and I really needed to do these reports. So I put the audio back on and I was like, oh, this is not as much fun. I mean, it was fine, but as soon as I was done with work, boop, right back to the e-reader. So yeah, I think this would be one that if you have the option and you're okay with reading with your eyeballs, I would read this one with my eyeballs.
How many different narrators did they have?
According to the thing, it has 3.
I was gonna say 3 or 4.
Yeah,
but I mean I only heard.
Right. So you would have the narrator who was reading in the present tense, right? The story about Monique.
And I believe that was Robin Miles.
Right. And I thought that she did fine. And then you had the narrator who was doing it all from Evelyn's POV and all the flashbacks as she's telling the stories. And she spoke at an unnaturally glacial pace.
I wonder if that was because she was trying to give a more sophisticated
I can't imagine why, because it's not like Evelyn was a sophisticate.
No, she wasn't.
And then I think maybe the third narrator was the one that would come in and read, like, you know, what was clearly meant to be like the Hollywood Confidential stories and stuff.
Oh, and those and that's another reason why I definitely recommend the ebook, because the way that they were done in the audiobook just didn't do them justice. Like they were nicely set out and, you know, read like a newspaper article. Like the first one that was a blog, I wasn't even sure what the fuck was going on. You know, at first I was like, is this chick pissed off about, I mean, who is this? And I think had I read that one with my eyes, I would have caught on a lot sooner that, oh, I get what's happening here.
Yeah.
Okay. So so now we haven't, Andy and I, it's very clear because we've mentioned it several times. You, on the other hand, have not just come out and said, oh yeah, I really love this book, or it was okay, or whatever.
No, I liked it. I enjoyed it. There were periods when I enjoyed it less than other periods. There were things that I saw coming a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And again, we're in for spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when we first learn, right? So, Evelyn Hugo is this elderly recluse who has reached out to this magazine and said, I want this specific person that you have on staff to come and I will give her an interview. And then when she gets there, we learn that she's like, yeah, I don't really want your magazine to have it. I'm giving you rights to my autobiography that you can publish when I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept mentioning that the main thing that this author has written is the story about euthanasia and the right to die. Right. So that I thought was telegraphed from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I missed it. I did not see that.
Okay.
I thought it was because her daughter, maybe. I thought that it would have been her daughter, like she helped her daughter. I did not see that coming. I mean, I knew that there had to be something bad that was going to happen, but no, I didn't see that.
Okay.
So just wanted to throw that out there.
So I kind of felt like that was coming. And then particularly there's foreshadowing through like the last third of the book where they're like, oh, well, when you learn why I brought you here, you will despise me, kind of a thing. And it's like, oh, all right.
And the whole thing with she keeps bringing her father up all the time. It's that seems to be like the big thing for her. So that's gotta.
Right. Her father who died when she was very young.
Yeah, there was going to be some intersection.
Right. So then you
intersection
start. That's fucked up. You start sort of chronologically through Evelyn's life story, right? How she had a horrible upbringing and she did whatever she needed to do to get the hell out of town and get to Hollywood. And if that meant lying about her age and marrying a guy that she didn't give two shits about and sleeping with moguls at the studio. Then she was all down for that. So I have mixed emotions about that, right? Because I mean, I get it, right? You play the cards you're dealt, but then I don't know.
See, for me, I think it was. I mean, they're hers, and she can do with what she wants with her boobs and her body. And it wasn't that anybody was taking anything from her. She was. I think Megan said it really well yesterday when we were talking about it. She said something like she was playing a man's game. She had the mentality that she was going to do what she needed to do. And it was, and I think I respected her for that because those dudes were going to try and get shit from her anyway. And this way she was like, boom, that's fine. This shit doesn't mean anything to me. I'm getting what I want.
Wasn't she like 14?
Yeah. She was, yeah.
Yeah.
So
but her, she needed to get the hell out because her dad was about to start, working on her too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't feel bad about any of that because it was her choice to do that. And and she may have had other options, but she was also a young teen who had no real life experience. And I mean, that really did form, that kind of laid that foundation for her for many, many years,
Right.
as it would.
But ultimately, that mindset, which never fully left her, right, would ultimately end up being the undoing of her relationship with, the main person that she loved more than once.
Yeah.
So,
Some comments from Megan.
Cecilia, right? What the hell is her name?
Celia St. James.
Right.
So I didn't see that coming. With Celia, I mean, when they're,
emphysema at the end.
No. I mean, when Celia started like putting the moves on her,
but Celia didn't put the moves on her.
Well, she kind of did. Well,
I mean, I saw it coming when they had that conversation, and she's like, "So, I mean, Don, he
that's
really
when,
does it for you?" And she's like, "Yeah." I mean, to me, that was like, okay, well, just checking. Just want to make sure.
I didn't know this was a lesbic, Megan. I had no idea. So,
I think, to me, it was kind of clear that Celia was a lesbian.
Yes, I did get that.
I did not see necessarily that they would hook up and stay hooked up,
right?
For any significant period of time. I thought maybe it would she might just dip. Evelyn might just dip her toe in the lady pool.
Everything is lesbic. I was surprised by that too. I thought, maybe she'll have a little fling, but then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh my God, I am in love with Celia St. James," and she was, and that was that,
which is interesting because she never was in love with any of her damn husbands.
Right.
She did have that
except for
attraction to a couple of them.
No, she loved Don.
Yeah, I think number 2.
Love with Don.
She loved Don.
Yeah, until he started beating her.
Yeah, that
exactly
was the impression.
Yeah, when he started beating her, and then when he was cheating on her. But I think it was really kind of a nice coincidence that she found out that he was cheating on her at the exact same time that she finds out that Celia has a thing for her
at a party under the stairs.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to. So there was one line. So Celia. Let's take a few steps back because we're just kind of jumping in on all of this. And we're not actually sharing anything about the book.
I want to know if Colette is cheating on her alcoholic libation with, what is that?
Was that a Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
It's a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Well, I don't.
The beverage of gamers everywhere.
I don't have much. That's absolutely true, and I don't have much Prosecco left. So,
You don't have a bottle on the floor like I do.
I do not have a bottle on the floor.
What?
Where's Laura with your refills?
Laura is playing Dragon Age.
In
the other room. She's got her headphones on. She's not going to hear any of this.
She's done. My wife and kid are gone. They left to go by my insanely tall son. Oh.
She just yelled, "I hear all of it." So I feel like that's more a reflection of me and my lack of volume control.
That's okay. You are fine.
I like
this. This is your excuse.
Okay.
So, like we said, Evelyn, whose real name is Evelyn Herrera, she is the daughter of Cuban immigrants who live in Hell's Kitchen, and her mom dies when she's young. She adores her mother. She is, her mom is like everything. And her mom had always, they used to talk about going to Hollywood and her mom would be a star or a singer or something. I don't remember. And her mom dies and she's left alone with her physically abusive and potentially soon to be sexually abusive father. She decides at the age of 14 that I got to get the hell out of here. And so she conveniently sets up a meeting with this dude named Ernie. And I believe his name is Ernie.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Number one of 7, we'll just
It
call
was
him number 1.
Number 1. So she casually meets up with number 1, arranges the entire thing, wears the tightest shit she's got because her breasts are monster big. And I love that she has no ass to speak of, apparently, but and that was one of the other lines in there,
which is kind of funny. Yeah,
Celia has nothing but ass, and Evelyn has nothing but tits.
Nothing but tits. Yeah,
yeah. So she talks her new. So she sleeps with this dude and talks him into marrying her and taking her out to Hollywood.
Well, he was already going to Hollywood.
Right. He was going to work.
He got a job as like a grip.
A grip,
so
yeah.
She was like, oh, well, I'm going to have to stop by. So she stopped by in her little skimpy skimp and was like, hi.
Yeah.
And did the whole thing. And so he ended up taking her to Hollywood, which is what she wanted. And I guess she did some bit parts, some extra work in the background, and then she got some speaking parts, and then like as soon as she got signed to star in something, she, the studio was like, you should probably not be married, and she was like, okay,
cool. Yeah, I would like there was we would like you to date some of these stars, these male stars.
Is that going to be
Do you understand? Is that going to be a problem? She's like, nope. Went home and told Ernie, I'm leaving you, babe. And he's like, oh, bummer.
But the studio paid him off.
Yes, the studio paid him off, and then she dated. Oh, they set her up. Didn't they set him? They set her up with somebody, but then they set her up with Dawn. And then she was like, I never knew.
Number 2.
Yeah, this is number 2.
Yeah. He was like the Barrymores in this.
Right.
The Hollywood royalty, the old Hollywood royalty.
I guess. I didn't really get a sense for that. I mean,
that's what they had said.
There were flashes of different real Hollywood stars throughout the whole thing, right? So the 7 husbands, that's very Liz Taylor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she marry 8 times to 7 different husbands?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Right, and then the car crash that comes later, that she pulls her friend out of the car and cradles his head in her lap. That's very Elizabeth Taylor and Montgomery Clift.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yep, that was they had as much of a love affair as a gay man and a straight woman could probably have.
Oh, well then that does make a lot of sense then.
It does, yeah.
And they were making that horrible movie, Raintree County. I don't know if either of you have suffered through it. It's like 19 hours long.
No.
Civil War drama. And he left a party at Elizabeth Taylor's house one night in the Hollywood Hills and just kind of nodded off. Driving down this crazy road,
which is the perfect time to nod off.
He hit a pole, like the character in this book did.
I thought it was a tree. It was
a tree. No, it was a tree.
And he was basically just sort of laying in the car under the dashboard, bleeding to death.
Oh,
somebody had been following him, or I guess he had been in front of him, and he saw Montgomery Clift's headlights just disappear from the road behind him, and he's like, holy shit. And he turned around and saw that, so he drove back up the hill to Elizabeth Taylor's house and was like, Montgomery Clift's been in a horrible accident, can somebody call the cops? So Liz Taylor jumped in this dude's car and was like, take me there. He drove her there. She climbed in through the window because the door couldn't be opened.
Oh, that was defender Liz Taylor.
Yeah. This is 1956 Liz Taylor.
Because I'm trying to think of the later Liz Taylor could.
Yeah, no. This is pre Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And she cradled his head in her lap, and his front teeth had gone down his throat and he was choking, and she reached down and pulled them out. And then when the cops came, I guess paparazzi listened to the police radio. So they pulled up, and she basically hopped out and said, if any of you motherfuckers take a picture of this, I will never give you an interview or an exclusive or anything ever again.
Wow.
And they were like, okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So after he was taken away by the ambulance, I think they took pictures of his car, but nobody got a picture. And he was never really the same after that. Like, he had a lot of nerve damage.
Oh, he didn't die?
No.
Oh, I don't know shit about the era. I haven't watched a lot of movies, so
no. It made Raintree County a huge hit,
but not any better.
because the party at Liz Taylor's house was to celebrate. We finished all of the on-set filming, and now we're going to go on. We're going to go to South Carolina or wherever the hell they filmed it and do all the location shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So people went to see it because they wanted to see the before and the after.
Wow. I hate people.
Yeah, people suck.
They're the worst.
People suck.
People are awful.
Yeah.
So she ends up falling in love with Don, and at that point she says,
I think she was like in lust.
She was, and I mean that was part of it, right? Is that she had sex with all these dudes.
Yeah, but you don't have to love to have sex, for crying out loud.
You need to remember how old she is, right? I mean, she's maybe she was still 17 or had just turned 18 at this point. Is it a telemarketer?
Someone in Mason, Ohio. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
So this is the first time in her life that she has felt chemistry with somebody. Like, she wanted to jump him, and she had never ever experienced that. She didn't even believe that was that was possible. And Megan says she did love him because he treated her like a person. You're right, and she says that. Oh yeah, at first, and that's exactly right. I kind of forgot that. Like, he talked to her like she was just a human being. She wasn't just a pair of tits on legs, and they were both, on he was getting ready to hit the pinnacle of what he thought was going to be his career. But then he turned into a massive asshole. Mm-hmm. But she did legitimately love him. For the first time in her life, she loved somebody. Mm-hmm. And they have a lot, and they do have, he comes back later, and I wasn't sure how I felt about that, but he ended up being kind of a decent human.
Yeah, I think he was much chastened later, right? Because his career had kind of bottomed out. He was no longer with the studio anymore. Yeah. I mean, and when we start this, it's really kind of the end of the studio system anyway.
Yeah,
right?
It is. Yeah.
I don't know that people knew it, but it was. I mean, and the way that Evelyn is described throughout, you almost kind of get the sense that she is like a Jane Mansfield-esque kind of.
Yeah. I got that too.
Right? But I mean, but that she's actually you know, highly regarded as an actress, which I don't think Jane Mansfield probably
No.
ever was.
No.
I think Jane Mansfield was meant to be a body.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
in a
I
car
think-
crash?
No,
What's that?
that was
Jane Mansfield.
Didn't she
Oh,
die
was
in a
it?
car accident?
Oh, she's Mariska Hargitay's mom, right? She was decapitated while the kids were in the back seat,
I don't
or
think
almost decapitated.
Yeah, I think the decapitation was
I read that on Wikipedia.
embellishment.
Oh, here you go. Listeners, I did not say, or watchers, listeners, however you're getting this, I did not bring up Wikipedia. Thank you.
I think what happened was that, you know, that there were pictures of her wig.
Oh, is that what it was?
And so that became
she
was
got beheaded.
decapitated.
Oh,
But I
okay.
don't think she actually was.
Okay, yeah.
And
and
I think her kids were asleep in the back seat.
Yeah. And for Evelyn, that was something that I think really seemed to shock everybody, is that she was a really good actress.
Right.
And I think even at the very end, when they're doing the photo shoot for the magazine, and you know, Monique realizes that kind of at the same time, that she, you know, you can see this on the screen, but to actually watch her and see how she commands a room, and how the camera just loves her. Okay. So let's go back. So we get rid of husband number 2. Husband number 2, Dawn, once she finds out that he's cheating on her, and also that she has the hots for Celia, she divorces him, but he ruins her career.
Right.
Totally
because
ruins her
got
career.
all the control at the studio.
Right.
And
He's got the clout.
Tells the studio that they need to, you know, don't put her in anything good, loan her out to shitty studios with terrible scripts, and let's just be done with her. So he basically tries to blacklist her. And she decides that she is going to take an opportunity to be in a sexy French film.
Right. Yes. Meanwhile, she and Celia have essentially they have solidified their relationship. They are together. Again, we have to remember how young they are. They make very poor choices. There's a lot of jealousy, a lot of upset. There's Celia is a lesbian, and she completely gets that. Evelyn, however, will not accept any label other than bisexual, which I don't think they had.
I don't know. I guess I would need to really research when bisexuality kind of came into the lexicon.
Yeah.
Right at this point, it's probably what, the late 50s, very early 60s.
Very early 60s.
Oh,
it might have been around. It might have been.
So maybe.
So and that upsets Celia, and I get that. I get that. Because so Celia is super jealous, super intimidated by neither one of those are really the right word. She's
threatened.
She's threatened. Thank you. So she's very threatened by the dudes that are just like drooling all over Evelyn, and Evelyn's like,
give her things that Celia can't give her, like children.
Right.
Marriage, respectability.
Right. And Celia is essentially she is. She's very naive. They both are. Well, that's not true. Evelyn is not naive. Celia is very naive. Ever.
At any point.
She was born like,
right.
Yep, I know exactly what's going on out here. And I had to, it wasn't until the second day, I read quite a bit the first day, and then the second day, it hit me that a lot of the things that Celia and Evelyn went through TJ and I also went through while we were in the Marine Corps. We were both 18. I had more male lovers than I don't even remember most of them, because at a young age, I was also taught that, I was taught that I don't have the right to say no. I just do. If somebody wants something from me with my body, I just let them have it. That was, that's what I was taught. When we were in the Marine Corps, we couldn't hold hands. We couldn't do anything in public. We had to be very, very careful. And those things really affect us even now. We never hold hands. We never do anything like that. And I really get pissed off when I think about it, because it really affected our intimacy. But anyway, TJ got married, and I set it up with her, with her now ex-husband. And we did it because people were looking at us a little too closely. And she was best friends with this dude, and they worked together, and some people kind of suspected something might be going on. So we just made that happen. So I kind of get and I also made poor choices with, it's all just kind of understandable, but it sucks. It sucks when you have to deal with that. And it definitely took its toll on their relationship. Yeah, Celia was all about the happily ever after, and Evelyn was about the dirty work. And that's what initially killed their relationship.
Yeah.
And I should have known that this would be a kind of a lesbicky thing when they break up because of lack of communication. So Evelyn decides, it was after they had gone to see this rock star in a park.
What was his name?
Mick Riva.
Oh,
I believe.
Yeah.
So they go and see him, and Evelyn accidentally sort of holds Celia's hand and looks over and sees that they've been busted. They got caught. So it was widely known that this particular singer wanted to marry, or at least fuck, Evelyn. So she stood up there in the second row. She stood up, shaking her ass and her boobs, and he's like, "Oh,
just the boobs, there's no ass.
Just the boobs, there's no ass." And she tells Celia, "I'm going to go out on a date with him." And Celia's like, "I would really prefer that you don't."
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, you don't get it. I know how the system works. I got to give him something."
Yeah.
And then she's like,
she wasn't.
No, she wasn't. And that's the big thing about Evelyn. She does all this shit, but she knows exactly how it's all going to work out. She knows the media and the system so well that she knows exactly what's going to happen. What she doesn't expect is that when she says, "I'm going to get him to Vegas. I'm going to have him marry me, and then we'll get a quick annulment. I'll do it very publicly. Everybody will see us, and then I'll get it annulled." Well, I mean, I was thinking, well, are they going to get it annulled because she isn't going to consummate?
That's what I was wondering at
and
first.
apparently that's what Celia thought too.
Yeah.
Knowing what we knew about Evelyn, I mean, no.
Again,
Well,
I'm still super naive here.
There was a part of me that was hoping that was going to, because, that was the way it was going to go. Because when you say annulment, that's the first thing that pops into your head. That's the first thing, yes. But you're absolutely right. Evelyn didn't think twice about using her body to get whatever she needed. She understood
exactly what it was. That's all it was. It didn't have anything to do with sex. And I love the way. So so Evelyn decides she's going to go and get married and do this, and so she teases him so badly that he's like, his pants are like ready to explode. And she says, I can't, we're not married. And and he's like, we can fix that right now. So they stumble down the road to a chapel, get married. And when they get back to the room, I loved how she played this, even though I was really sick that she was going to sleep with him. But I loved how she played it. She's like, if I have to make this the shittiest, most boring sex that he has ever had.
Yeah.
So she just like lays there. And, you know, he wants to have sex in the morning. She's like,
no, I'm not a morning person.
And he goes and showers and comes back and says, you know, I don't think this is going to work. I was really drunk. And she's like, yes, I knew it. Yeah. And she goes back to Celia and says, well, this is what happened. And Celia's like, you fucked him? And she's
no,
like,
no,
well,
she didn't know that she fucked him until she found out she was pregnant.
She got pregnant. That's right. That's right. And
she had to tell Celia she'll take care of it.
Yeah. And first, and Evelyn's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll deal with it. You don't have to worry about it. I'll deal with it. Yep. And Celia's like, I didn't know you were going to sleep with him. You didn't tell me that. And Evelyn says, I thought it was implied.
Like, yeah. So at that point, I think Celia just packs up her shit and leaves.
That's exactly what she does. And sex was it was transactional for her. That's all it was unless she was with Celia and previously with Don. So
then that's husband number 3.
Right. And then she marries
and then she marries
the French director. No,
depressed.
Oh no, that doesn't happen until later.
No, she ends. I think number 4 is the guy that she
Harry,
makes a deal with. No, the guy she makes a deal with, and she's like, "Look, you know,
because I think or something."
He was her co-star.
Yeah,
and she says, "Look, we'll get married. It's going to make our movie huge." What was it, Anna Karenina?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Everybody is going to want to see her again. Throwback to Liz Taylor.
Yeah,
and
Richard Burton, right?
Richard Burton and Cleopatra. Yeah. Everybody went to see that movie because they knew they were fucking for real.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, it destroyed both of their marriages at the time.
So they have this arranged marriage, and it works for a really long time until Rex falls in love for real. And she's like, okay, well, what we'll do is we will slowly break up and do all of this. And he goes, yeah, she's pregnant. We want to get married. She's like, okay. She's just like, I got this. We'll just figure it out.
So then they have the staged cheating in the car with
Harry.
With
Harry.
Yeah.
And then she marries him, and he's number 5.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. He's number 5, and they're married for 15, 16, 17 years, something like that. And at the same time, so Harry has fallen in love with.
But we don't talk about who Harry is.
So Harry's go ahead, Andy.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go. No, because I never let you talk.
I know he worked for the studio. I just can't remember what the capacity was.
I thought he was
a producer.
Mm-hmm. Is he a producer? Okay.
Yeah.
He's one of the first friends that she made in Hollywood.
At Sunset Studios. He was a producer, and they became friends. And
closeted homosexual.
Right. Closet. She was his beard.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then he was hers. So it worked out okay. But then we find out that he is dating Celia's quarterback husband on the DL. And so they end up getting back together and have this freaky foursome, I guess, is what we would call it, right?
Because they moved to New York.
The husbands are together, the wives are together.
Which is actually a perfect arremind.
and it was.
What are the odds, though?
Yeah,
I know. But, I mean, it's perfect.
Well, Celia and John Oh no, they were together. That's right.
Yeah, they got married.
Because that's how Evelyn found out about it. Evelyn read about it in the paper, and then Harry said, "I've fallen in love with somebody. It's John,
right?
John Braverman."
Right.
And Evelyn's like, "Celia's John?" He goes, "Yeah, I didn't know how to. You've seen her. How is she?" Because at this point, when Celia left, she made it very clear that she didn't want to have shit to do with Evelyn no mo. You have broken up my heart. You will only ever love me halfway. I can't deal with it anymore. And she took off. And they didn't speak for 5 years.
Yeah.
So then...
I guess they decided to go ahead and fix things in the ladies' room at the Academy Awards.
Oh, that's right.
Because
I mean, how
don't
many
do
of us
anything halfway?
Yeah,
it's the drink. It's the the pageantry.
Every woman has had sex with another woman in the ladies' room. I mean, it just I bet all three of us have. You've never had sex in a bathroom?
No, because it's fucking gross.
I forgot you have this. This takes us back to the toilet scene in Killing Cupid.
I love
Not
that
on the toilet.
I love that show. Is that show been uploaded on YouTube yet?
I think we did it on YouTube. I think that one's a permanent fixture.
I hope so, y'all. You got to go see that episode.
Like worst fucking book ever.
It was a bad book.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bathroom sex, unless it's, I guess, like your personal bathroom that you then have control over the cleanliness of. It's gross. Gross.
If you're having 9 times out of 10, if you're having sex in the ladies' room, you are blasted anyway. I mean,
you're not thinking about.
You're having sober sex in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's different.
Nobody would do that. Only ever have drunk sex in the bathroom.
Yeah, you don't have straight. You don't have like I'm not drunk sex in the bathroom.
Yeah, like I'm really, really feeling you right now. Let's go to the bathroom. Let me have some more of my sparkling water. No, you're like, oh my god, it's so fucking hot for you.
We got to do it right now, man.
Yeah, you guys. This is not the slam dunk case that you think you're making.
I have to say, I hope Taylor Reid never watches this video.
Exactly. She's going to be so mortified.
And if you are watching this video at some future point, we really did like the book, and we're just
so much. Okay, so we are seriously almost out of time. So she goes through more husbands.
We're only up to we got to number 5, so we're really close. We're really close.
We're really close. Wow. We're really close. Okay, so husband number so then so what happens? So Celia leaves. She gets pissed off about something again. What was it?
Well, John dies.
No, Celia leaves before John dies, doesn't she?
Yes. So
it has something to do with the doctor.
Evelyn has a chance to make a film. In fact, Celia tells her,
the Dawn thing.
You should make this movie. I read this part, and I think you'd be really good in it.
And it's directed by the same French dude from before.
Who directed her very erotic French film before. Which was called like Almost a Nipple. I don't remember what it was called. But anyway, it was
called, I think, like Party Girl or
Almost a Nipple.
Okay. But that was the draw. That was the draw.
So
right? As they stopped the film right before her boob is shown. Fully.
Right.
Yeah.
So this felt very Last Tango in Paris to me. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because now Don is this sort of aging Hollywood star on the way down, and he makes this erotic film that ends up being rated X. Wasn't Last Tango in Paris rated X, but people got nominated for Oscars, and I believe that not too long ago, the actress in Last Tango in Paris basically said, yeah, some of that sex was not consensual. Some of it
really
Yeah.
Oh,
They
I didn't
had
know that.
the director was basically like, yeah, you just need to go for it. And then they filmed it kind of a thing.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is awful. And
So thanks for
I've
bursting that bubble.
I've
Damn.
not seen it, but I think there's a stick of butter somewhere.
There is.
Oh no.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, but anyway.
Turn around every now and okay.
Oh, okay. All right. That's filled in a few gaps for me. Okay. So, right? So, yeah, so basically she has a conversation with the French director and he says, you know, instead of your character really being into sex with this guy because she loves him, I think she should really be into sex with him because she likes fucking him. And he's good at it and she enjoys sex. And I think this will be the first time that Hollywood audiences will have seen this.
Yeah.
And without having a conversation with Celia, she's like,
just go.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're missing a big part of that. Who is her co-star?
Right, is her second husband.
It's her second. It's Don,
Adler.
who Celia knows is the only dude that she ever had a romantic love for and loved having sex with them, because the first time they talked about it, she said, yeah, I ache for him. You know, I feel like I just need to touch him and have him touch me. And then he was getting a blowjob and Celia said, oh, okay, well, I also want to touch your tits. So
sometimes he was touching her with his fist.
Sometimes he was.
Sometimes that was the kind of touching.
Oh, we didn't mention that Harry and Evelyn have had a child. I
mentioned the daughter earlier, but y'all.
Yeah. So Harry's like, I'm, in my late 30s. Celia is also in, she's 38, I think, by the time this happens.
Yeah.
Something. So, they decide they're going to go ahead and have a kid. Now, and Evelyn didn't want to adopt because then she was afraid that would feed rumors that there was something wrong with their relationship, that it wasn't on the up and up. Celia's like, I don't want to know. I don't want to hear about it. Do what you need to do. I don't want kids, but I will love your kid. And she did. So then I just wanted to fill in that because we've got the family part thing, we've got that family thing happening too. And the daughter at this point is, I don't know, 5, maybe 4 or 5, probably. Something like that.
Young. Yeah, she's really young.
Because she doesn't really remember Celia later.
Yeah, at Harry's funeral, right?
So Evelyn comes home. She's already filmed the scene. She basically puts it out there on the table like, yeah, the director wants me to do it this way. And I think, if you're okay with it. And Celia's like,
no.
Yeah, I'm not okay with it.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
okay.
I just don't think I'm going to be okay with everybody.
I want to be okay with
in the world watching you fuck your second husband and really enjoy it. And I think I'm just not going to be okay with it. So I'll make it up to you some other way. And then it was like, oh, well, I kind of already filmed it. Just like, oh, you know what? Fuck you. And
that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Got all of her shit again and left, and then divorced her gay husband as a way to basically walk away from her funky foursome and say, I'm done with all this. And then I think John dies.
Yeah, and then John dies.
And then Harry's not really able to get past it because, of course, now it's the late 80s and AIDS
his friends are dying from AIDS.
Ravaging the gay community.
Yeah.
So then Evelyn ends up marrying the French director. But it doesn't take her very long to realize that he's not really interested in being with her as a person. He's interested in being with her celebrity.
Right. The idea of her. And I mean, you're right. It didn't take long. It was like on the way. It was like at the reception or some shit, or like the next morning, he was already very clearly not
making
dealing
his
with
move.
her. Yeah, yeah. And so then in the meantime, so their relationship is hitting the skids, and then Evelyn and Celia reconnect, and they start writing letters back and forth. And they meet.
Well, they have
After the
scheduled.
couple of letters, yeah.
She's
You meet for
supposed
dinner.
to meet her for dinner. She's going to fly to New York, I guess.
L.A.
I don't remember where anybody was. So but it required like a transnational flight to meet her for dinner. Very, very cute.
Nobody else is here to pay attention. I have
right. So then
calmer.
the French director husband, who shall heretofore be number 6,
yes,
finds the letters as she's getting ready to get in the cab to fly to meet Celia for dinner. They have a knockdown drag out. He calls her a dyke several times. And threatens to go public with it if she goes.
And she's like, do what you got to do.
She goes. They have their dinner. Celia admits that she is dying of COPD and that she only has, maybe 10 years?
If she's lucky.
Yeah. Because she was in her 50s, and she goes, I won't make it past 60. Or something like that.
So they decide that they're going to be together and they're going to move to Europe. And there is some discussion of how is this going to work with Harry? I'm trying to remember. Like
Harry, they were going to try to get. Harry was going to marry Celia, I believe. No, I don't remember. But
I don't know. But because Harry is the father of her child, Harry had to come with them to Europe.
And Celia, right. Evelyn was going to marry Celia's brother, Robert.
Well, so that's what ended up happening. But I don't feel like
that was the original plan. She had already talked to Robert about it, and that way Evelyn would inherit all of Celia's wealth and shit, because she couldn't just leave it to her, I guess. And then Harry was going to, I don't know, do something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was.
No. Celia was going to marry Harry's boyfriend, who Evelyn had never met.
Oh, right. So then he's, they aren't agreed on it. She says, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets in the limo and they pass his wrecked car.
Mm-hmm.
And the passenger is dead. The guy in the passenger seat is dead. And Harry is bleeding to death with his front teeth knocked out.
Right, because Harry was
scenario.
So
Harry was drunk.
She tells the driver to help her get Harry in his car. They move the dead passenger behind the wheel.
Right.
They claim to wipe the inside of
wipe the steering wheel and shit. This whole thing was so much bullshit. Right? I was so mad at this whole thing.
But you understood it was to move the plot along, and I get it.
Yeah, I get that.
It was ridiculous.
But okay, so let's just take the step back here. So we've got a car. So they see that the car, like the front end, is plowed into a tree.
Right.
It hit the tree so hard that the tree fell over on top of the car. Yet there's no one around. There's no people anywhere. Yeah,
but it's California, isn't it? Up in the hills, and
they were in like fucking LA.
But there are some really
okay. Well, let's just accept
in the hills.
Let's just move on from that then, and we'll just say, okay, no one was around to hear this humongous crash, crunch. And sees some dude and a lady dressed up dragging this dead fucker out of the car and put him in the driver's seat. And she's laid out on the ground holding Harry. They put him in the car and then they take it. We'll just say that's totally possible. just for now,
You
just for the
guys
sake of argument.
pull up this picture. That is Montgomery Clift's car on the way down from Elizabeth Taylor's house.
Oh, hold on.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Let me.
No wonder he swallowed his damn teeth. What?
I'm going to share it with you all in just.
Oh, we can share it with the audience.
Yeah. There we go.
That's rock. That's amazing. Anybody lived in that thing, but it was just Montgomery Clift, right? He was alone.
Correct.
I think eventually that will show up. There it is. It's in the.
Oh my Lord,
now.
that's just scary.
Okay, so you guys can look at that. So okay, so we'll just let that go. That's totally possible. Plausible that happened.
Down the steering wheel to get Harry's fingerprints off it, even though his blood and his DNA
everywhere. Right.
It's everywhere. Right. It's everywhere. And also the fact that the injuries on the people would be completely inconsistent, right?
Well, and so that was another thing, right? So she takes her friend Harry, she gets the driver to drive them. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
She gets the driver to drive them to the hospital. They admit him. He's there for I don't know how long enough for her to change her clothes. She's waiting for an update, and he comes out and he says, well, he severed a major artery and he's lost a lot of blood, so he's gonna die soon. Yeah. Like, they don't have fucking blood in the hospital.
No. I mean, they're not. No, of course not. And he was there for a really long time, so
he was.
Give him some fucking blood. And then also, so then
so that wasn't just me.
No,
Taylor, it wasn't. No. I mean, did they just like put him in a closet and forget about him and go, oh, by the way, we looked at him as soon as he got here and he had lost too much blood. We just thought you needed some time to relax before we came out and told you. And then then the whole thing with, okay, two more things.
I don't disagree with you guys, but I have to wonder in that time period, were they having a blood shortage because of AIDS? Had they had enough screening for that particular virus? I mean, maybe she didn't say it in the book, but I'm just wondering if, since it was in the crisis, was there a blood shortage? I don't know.
There wasn't a blood shortage.
And maybe they would have come out and said, what, can you donate? Your friends died bleeding to death.
Amen. That they could no longer
they couldn't donate.
And I feel like that's still in place.
I think
throwing it out there. If I were a writer, how would I try to work this through? I'm just,
I maybe would have gone a completely different direction than that. But
it solves the problem of him not wanting her to go to Spain or wherever and take their daughter. It eliminates that problem, that complication.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, not really, because that's what they did anyway. They were going to do it with or without him.
Yeah, but it made it more convenient. It made it kind of close the chapter on that because he was gone.
Okay. Also, I just want to the whole thing where the orderly or whoever comes in and says something like, I forget what he said, but she's like, how much money can I pay you to go away?
Yeah. And they do.
And they do. Like, that's cool. That's exactly how much money I want.
But why is any healthcare provider not a healthcare provider in Southern Los Angeles? Because you get paid under the table to do all kinds of.
So how did she get them? Who declared that it was an aneurysm? And how did that go? It's in the papers.
Have an attending doctor. You don't have to have an autopsy unless there's if the doctor's not in attendance or the circumstances of somebody dying are suspicious.
No. And also, how the hell did he get there? I mean,
nobody is going to look at somebody who is in a car accident that is going to be enough to kill them and be like, yeah, probably just an aneurysm.
He had an aneurysm in his carotid, in his carotid artery.
But he took that money. He had to sign off. He took the money. He had to sign off on the death certificate, and he probably.
I guess, but I mean,
down the board.
It's not like Harry's just some shithead who worked at Burger King. I mean, he just got done making this huge movie.
Money talks, baby.
I guess I just really thought that almost cost us a full star right there.
I mean, when she asked the question, and not only does the guy accept, but she's like, "Luckily, it was enough that I had in my purse at the time."
I know. That's even worse.
So for like, what a Jackson,
that's even worse.
You basically falsified documents.
Hey Taylor, you want to weigh in on this part? Just say.
No, I just really struggled with that. And so we're wrapping it up, folks. We're wrapping it up. So
before it's a 2-hour show.
Yeah, right. So we're done with so Harry dies. It's very sad. And
I gotta say, I was a little sad that Harry died. I understand why the author went that route, but it was still kind of sad because they had been through decades together. Friends, mess.
It was heartbreaking, and I was so really sad. It was just the way that it was handled.
He was the only man in her life who hadn't used her for sex.
That's true. True. Well, Robert at the end, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Right. So then
up to that point,
Celia's brother becomes number 7.
Number 7.
Yep. Yeah.
They move to Europe, the 3 of them, and move in together. And they
4 because the kid.
Oh, because the daughter. Right, because I don't know how old she was when she was having threesomes.
13 or 14.
She was 14.
She 13 or 14. Yeah.
Really stepped off the old block.
She fell apart after Harry died. Like her and her mom kind of always knocked heads, but her and Harry.
Yeah.
He hung the that was like down.
There's Wild Kingdom over there in your house.
I think TJ and Micah are home. But
I hope so. Otherwise, I hope you have good insurance.
They're home. But anyway, so Connor, right? Her name, Connor.
It's the daughter.
Yeah.
So Connor, the daughter, when Harry dies, she just falls apart, and she's doing drugs, she's drinking, she's skipping school. She won't go there.
She's going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's in the press and stuff, and I did think that it was nice that they at least didn't publish her name in the article that was in the book, because she is a minor.
Yeah, but I mean, all of those articles are meant to be blind.
Right.
But they definitely say it's a wild child.
They made it very clear who it was.
So you knew who it was.
Yeah. So Evelyn says, "Look, I'm going to treat you like an adult. I'm in love with Celia. This is what's going on. We're moving." And Connor's like, "Whatever, I don't care. Fuck you. I just don't care. Leave me alone." And they kind of slowly build their shit back together. Mm-hmm. And then when they move to Spain, Connor kind of pulls it together, and she and Robert. And I was scared. I was like, "Oh my God, please don't make Robert a child molester." Because
I know,
just don't know if I can handle. Were you thinking the same thing?
I was. I'm like, "Oh, please. That's not what Connor needs. Please."
And so she says, Connor. Robert didn't try to take Harry's place. He never could have, but he was a very good guy.
Yeah.
And so Celia makes it quite a few years. Connor graduates high school, goes off to Stanford.
Oh, I know. So exciting. Stanford!
So
I'm not drinking out of my Stanford cup right now, but I have a couple.
Oh,
I do.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So Celia dies. It's devastating.
I mean, wasn't that just? I got to tell you, I got a little lump in my throat reading about Celia's death. They had come so far and gone through so much, even though you knew she was going to die because of this respiratory issue. You just like, oh damn. Because they seemed like they had finally gotten to a place where they could just be, right?
Yeah.
Just be.
They weren't famous. I mean, they were famous still, but nobody cared where they were. And
people gave them privacy. They were actually just able to live a life.
yeah, they were just people and able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
Oh, come on.
Yes.
Man, you had to bring up beaches. Come on.
Oh, well, but it really kind of was. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
And her for bringing that up. Now I'm gonna have to watch that movie.
I can't bring myself to do it. It's too much. So okay, so we better. Okay, so let's keep on cruising. So Celia dies.
Slow lane. What are you talking about?
I know.
Right, so Celia dies. Connor goes to work on Wall Street and then rethinks her decision.
Yep.
I
forget what
she ends up teaching at Wharton.
Wharton.
Robert dies, and then Connor gets breast cancer
and dies.
And dies.
Yes.
And so that kind of brings us to the point where we are now, where Evelyn is alone.
Yep.
And everyone who could be impacted by this story is gone.
Is gone. Except for perhaps that little pissant that helped her with the car wreck. The one that she made the phone call.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, everybody that ever had any meaningful position in her life was dead and gone. By the time
she was about 80 at this point.
Yeah.
So then at that point, we learn that the reason that she chose this particular author to write her story.
2 reasons.
Okay.
You know what they are? Go ahead. 2 reasons.
Well,
because of that story.
One was the story about euthanasia and right to die with dignity.
Right.
And then the other was that it was her father who was the passenger in that car all those years ago.
Right.
And so
dragged into the steering, into the
no reasonable police officer would have thought that he was the driver. But whatever, we'll pretend.
I mean, it's not like it's 1920 and they can't, they don't have the kind of experience. Like an experienced police officer would have just looked at the injuries on that dude and been like, this was a fucking setup.
It's like if someone took the Black Dahlia victim and put her in the behind the driver's.
Exactly.
Right. Oh no, totally fine.
Yep, this happens all the time.
It was terrible.
Yeah, somebody slipped me a 50 and I said it was an aneurysm.
I mean, and you think you figure it was the 80s. They may not have had seatbelts on. Although Harry did have his seatbelt on because that's what cut his nut. That's what cut his thing. Oh, I'm just so unhappy with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway,
so that was the big revelation. Yeah, she had told Monique from the very beginning that once she told her story, Monique was going to hate her, basically.
Yes. And Monique's like, nah.
Part of the waiting game when she's telling her story is you're waiting to figure out why Monique was going to hate her.
Well, and also at the beginning, it really didn't make any sense why she would have chosen this no name,
nobody except
writer.
Yeah,
I seriously just thought that it was because Evelyn and her daughter. Evelyn helped her daughter commit suicide when the cancer got too bad, and that wasn't it at all.
It wasn't.
I was so focused on that I missed everything else.
I got to tell you, I did get a little knot in my throat when, God damn it, Celia. What the hell? When she died, but I almost shed a tear when Connor died. I came super, super, super close. I could feel a little moisture, flaring up.
When I cried 2 times. I cried.
What?
I cried. So okay. Well, let's keep going because I cried after the stuff that we're talking about.
Okay.
So Monique had kind of pushed the issue with Evelyn and said, look, I can't publish this book. I mean, I can't sell this book until you're dead. I still need a job.
Right.
You made these people at the magazine think that you were going to give them something.
Yeah.
so she came clean with the editor in charge or whatever, editor in chief of the magazine, and they came up with a deal that Celia, or God damn it, that Evelyn would do. Right, she would do the photo shoot,
right,
for a cover, and Monique could publish an excerpt of the book,
right.
Any piece that she wanted, anything that she wanted to do, and so at the end, Evelyn tells Monique about her father, hands her this beautiful letter that her dad had written to Harry, saying, "I can't go to Europe with you. You have to go and take care of your family. And while I may not have a burning, passionate love for my wife, she's my best friend, and my daughter is my wife. And there's no way that I could ever leave them." And it was very sweet and very, very moving. And it kind of made Monique think. It was really complex for Monique, right? So she's dealing with this newfound respect and kind of not really awe, but she sees Evelyn in a way that probably no one else sees her, as this really complex, driven, emotionally vulnerable woman, because she really was.
Yeah.
But she also sees her as this woman who left her dad to die and made her and her mother think that her dad was a drunk driver, which he had never done before. So, I mean, that affected everything about her view of her dad.
Yeah.
So she's super confused.
Reset switch. All the things that she's been going through for years, trying to reconcile this irresponsible act that took her father from her, and now she's having to reassess because her world's just been turned upside down.
Right. And her dad was gay.
So it was another what moment. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the night before. That's Thursday. They're supposed to have the photo shoot the next day. And Evelyn says, "Well, I'll see you tomorrow." And she's like, I don't think I can ever see you again.
Yeah.
So she does end up coming back, and they do this photo shoot, and Evelyn is very clear about how she's saying goodbye to her staff, and
she's
Monique's
really explicit. Do you know how I've enjoyed working with you for whatever many years?
The way that you say, "Have a good weekend."
Right. Right.
I have so appreciated everything you've ever done for me.
I couldn't have made it through the last several years without
you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
there's not a doubt in your mind what's getting ready to happen.
Right.
As soon as everybody leaves the apartment, she is going to commit suicide. Yeah. And so I really expected Monique to reach deep inside and do something, but she was like, "Peace."
And she kept that position. But so pick up her mom at the airport. She was like, "Should I go back? Should I not go back?"
She was vacillating the whole time. Like, ooh, pretty sure she is hanging from the light fixture.
Right.
No, I knew she would do drugs.
I figured she was going to do a Marilyn Monroe, honestly.
Yeah. So, have the CIA come in and shoot drugs up her ass? Is that what you meant?
Okay. Accidentally overdose.
Right. So I really struggled with. Well, it's not that hit me the whole time Monique is leaving, and she's kind of struggling with it herself. Like, she's seriously struggling with it herself.
Yes,
and I got
a really good job depicting that struggle as well.
Yeah,
so good on you.
Yeah, that was good. Because it's not like Evelyn hadn't thought this through. She knew exactly what she wanted to do, and for Monique, it was, I really should go back and I should save her. I should prevent her from doing this. But on the other hand, she's doing exactly what she wants to do, just like she always has.
The right to die with dignity. And
exactly.
Always called the shots on her own life.
Right. And they had some discussions about this, so I got it. But like when she's standing at the subway, and she's supposed to be going to meet her mom is flying in. Right, so she's supposed to be going to take the subway to meet her mom at the airport. And the first subway train comes and goes, and she's still standing there. She goes, I should go back up and get back there.
Yeah.
And then she stands there and she waits. The next one comes, and like at the last minute, she jumps on the train and she goes and she meets her mom and it just grabs her mom and falls apart. And here's me.
Oh, you old softy. I love it.
I did.
That was a very poignant moment. And I got to say that, wait, what's Megan saying over here?
I think that the story would have been tighter if Monique's father part of the story was dropped. The assisted suicide would have been enough to link her with Evelyn. I agree with that, because then you wouldn't have that bullshit car wreck thing. That whole scenario could have been gone.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it feels like something that an editor said, we need more.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah,
and
you
so
might be right.
Back after the fact.
But if we can get back to the picking up her mom part, I got to say, I tried to put myself in Monique's position at that point, knowing all that she knew.
Mm-hmm.
How hard because she loves her mother. She dearly loves her mother. And they have one of those relationships that mother and daughters have. I mean, it's complicated.
Well, some.
It's complicated. Yeah, not your mom. Anyway, but that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole
other show. But imagine knowing what she knows about her father and that situation, that it would devastate her mother to know. So she's going to have to figure out whether she should tell her or keep that secret. Personally, I think she should keep the secret.
Well, and
she decides to.
What was that?
Yeah.
And does it go in the book or not?
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine how that must be just weighing on her, just knowing this devastating information. I mean, that's got to be a really tough position to be in.
And then I really loved how, so she, Monique is still just, she knows what's going on. She knows that at that moment, she's back at home with her mom in her apartment. And her mom is like, I would really love to see All of Us or whatever, which was the last film. I believe, that she did with it's the one that her and Harry had produced together right before Harry died.
Oh, right.
And she was starring in it, and Monique's like, I just don't think I can do it. She's like, well, I really would love to see it since you've been talking about her. And then Monique is watching this with her mom, and she's just kind of reflecting on how awesome Evelyn is in it, and how it must have just been incredible, and it was very touching.
It was, and asking her mom about her relationship with her dad,
right,
and it was very touching as well.
It was. So it turns out that her mom's like, we're the best of partners. We're the best of companions. Right. He was so interesting, and I loved him so much. And he would do these little things, and we didn't have that grand passion, but it wasn't about that. We had an incredible intimacy, and it was beautiful, and I really liked that a lot.
Yeah. I really liked how how Taylor put together this story. I mean, did it have flaws? Sure. I mean, is any book perfect? Yeah. No. But she did a really good job of trying to capture these moments, and having an empowered woman and her finding her way. It was just, I think it's one of those stories that I'm going to have to reread every few years. I mean, it was just really good. I love the way she wove this story. And as much as I absolutely hate flashbacks, I don't think you could have told this story any other way that would have been nearly as engaging.
And I like the way that they were done. I mean, it wasn't in and out. You got
it was very seamless.
Yeah,
it was. It was very seamless.
And I liked how they did. It was the premise was that it was from Evelyn telling her story from the time Monique got there in the morning until they broke at night. So she would tell this very large chunk of story, and then a new section would start, and it was Monique. It would be Monique's POV,
right,
in the present tense, saying, okay, well, and then she would ask a clarifying question or two, but not too much, and then we would get into Monique's story a little bit.
Right. Although there wasn't too much to Monique's story, right? Mostly just her and her
her soon-to-be
impending
ex-husband.
divorce and
Yeah,
trying to
Monique.
decide
Yeah.
if that ultimately is what she wanted. And
Oh,
somehow Evelyn
and
did help her with that.
a lot. And that was one of the biggest things that Monique was conflicted over is, Evelyn changed her own perception of herself and what she deserved and her strength. And,
Yes.
how could she be? It was just so complex.
Well, it was very complex because sometimes, as you know, when you're younger, you make these decisions based on whatever experiences you have in life up to that point. So Monique was open enough to listen to Evelyn's stories and then find a way to make the application to her in her life and how empowering it was for her to make that choices about whatever her ex-husband's name was. I don't remember what the hell his name was. I don't remember. Anyway, so
David. Was it Dave?
David.
Whoever. Anyway, but it was really well done. It was really, really well done.
Even with all of the bullshit, I still gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, but there were definitely issues. There's not. I mean, any book you read has issues.
Absolutely.
This was very, very well thought out, very, very well crafted and created, and the way the story was told, it was super engaging. I mean, it was like 12 hours long on the audiobook, and I put that thing away, when I closed down my work computer at 5 p.m. until 1 a.m. The first night I was listening and did the same thing the second night. And trust me, I was dragging ass work the next day. But it was one of those, well, shit, should I just turn on the alarm? I mean, one of those sleep modes on the thing. And I thought, well, let me make a bookmark in case I fall asleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I actually had to press the button because I knew if I didn't, I would never get to sleep. And I had shit I had to do at work. But that's how engaging this story was.
It really was. I was super surprised when Megan contacted, I'm hanging out and I get a ping from Megan and she's like, I was up till 3. I was like, you didn't finish it, did you? She goes, yep.
But that's what it's like. Once you just clear your mind and just listen, just close your eyes and remember when you were, 5 years old and your parents were reading you a book at night, before you went to bed. Yeah. If your parents did that, I'm just saying. But, it's just like one of those, just clear it, and just listen to the story and let it captivate you. And it did. It just rolled over you like a nice wave. It was awesome.
I haven't read that amount of time with my eyes in one sitting in forever.
How many naps did you have to take?
None. I couldn't. That's why I was napping earlier today. I couldn't do it. And then I have to say, so I'm reading just a standard lesfic that I had started before I started this book.
Okay.
And then I finished it and I picked the other one back up. I'm like, oh, this isn't very good.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the pain of as you read and find really good authors that can create this whole universe in your head for these stories and these amazing storytellers. I'm quite frankly embarrassed on probably the first 6 months of our first year of our show. The stuff that we're reviewing, I listened to it, I was like, because it's so bad in comparison as you can.
I mean, except for that first show. Except for that first one.
The one we thought Colette Moody wrote creme brulee. I mean, that was creme brulee.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, the more you read and the more life you experience, it's sort of just all comes together where you really really appreciate authors that can craft their words so well that you're just enthralled. Like you just can't put the book down. And this doesn't have, you can have good stories that you don't have that reaction where you can't put the damn book down. You can continue to read it the next day or whatever. But very few times do you find an author like that can make you feel that like you have to know more. You have to continue to listen. You have to, or continue to read. And that's what this story surprisingly did for me. And I really, really appreciate the way that she pulled this all together.
So much better than her last book.
True.
In the Garden of Spite.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted more out of the Garden of Spite, and I really, really think that the author did a bold choice of trying.
I don't want to talk about that book anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I applaud her efforts. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Wow, this show almost went 2 hours for serious.
I know.
It would go this long. I mean, I knew we all liked the book. Well, I pretty much assumed Colette did because she didn't say something like, "This is a rancid cesspit."
Oh my God, I hate this book. Like the last one. It's like, I don't think I can go on with this.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of in-betweeny feelings.
You don't. You really don't.
Very black and white.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
So thank you for introducing me to this author. I don't know if I'll be bold enough to read anything else she's done, only because
really,
I don't know if any of the other stories can match up. I don't know. I don't know. But
all right. Well, if anybody else has an insight who's read this one and previous stuff, let us know. So the second time I cried was in the acknowledgments.
Oh my God.
I've been PMSing all week.
We are such a softie. I love that about you.
She was talking about her daughter and how Evelyn, she hopes that she has some Evelyn in her, and I was like, that's so sweet.
Yeah, the acknowledgments weren't in the audio version, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so you said you cried in the acknowledgments, and I was like, well, maybe they have them at the end.
Maybe I shut it off too soon.
No. So yeah,
sorry.
No, it's fine. I think good for you that you still PMS. I'm just gonna put it like that.
No, fuck that. I am so tired of it. And this is not fair. I have never used anything having to do with that. Never wanted to. I got no desire. Take it.
1 out of 3 of us still has to suffer with that mess, huh?
God damn.
I don't miss it at all.
No, I was not using my eggs, so I feel like it's completely fine if I'm out of eggs at this point.
Take them bitches out. I don't need them.
I'm just so upset. Every month, I'm like, this is such bullshit.
Wow.
She just like, still, huh? I'm like, God damn it.
All right. Well, before we go, folks, if you have any suggestions for a story for us to read, please put them down in the comments. We do check them, believe it or not.
Any sort of home remedies to...
Oh, yeah, PMS remedies.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. You know something we haven't done in a really long time?
What?
We haven't done a giveaway in a really long time.
We haven't. We have not. Wow. How long has it been? A couple of years?
Yeah. I was thinking we could give away a copy of this book, but we would already have ruined it. So hopefully nobody would.
Now, listen. As much as we gave away, it is definitely still worth listening to this or reading this story. It really is. I'm not kidding you.
And I think so.
I need to buy cheap wine more often because.
There you go. Why don't you give away a bottle of...
Give a bottle
of cheap wine.
Fancy flock.
But
one of you would have to take care of that. You can't ship alcohol outside.
Because apparently I can all wax lyrical and be all deep and profound and shit when I'm drinking cheap ass wine.
Well, what if you do like a $10 gift card to Aldi's?
Why not?
We could totally do that.
I would totally go to Aldi's and pay for that. Seriously.
All right. So if you have a suggestion for our next read, it needs to be in very quickly because we'll have to pick it and find it and read it. So if we do our next show, say May, what's the Saturday around May toward the middle or end of the month?
See how we did, y'all?
May
22nd.
Or May the 22nd.
Let's do the 22nd. We have more time.
Okay.
So episode 158.
158?
Yeah, May 22nd.
All right.
And then anybody, post your suggestions in the comments for this show.
Yeah.
And then if we pick your book, we will send you a gift card to someplace. If you have an Aldi's nearby, we'll send you a gift card to Aldi's. I think you have to do it.
I've got postage stamps and Aldi's near me. I can get a gift card and send it. No worries.
Yeah, I think you're all in on Fancy Flock.
I gotta tell you, like I said, I'm not a wine connoisseur, and I'm sure there are people out there who are blanching right the hell now, like, wow, God. But for a cheap table wine that you're, no occasion, just want something smooth and relaxing, this is your wine.
Yeah, your critique is like, I have not vomited, and I have managed to get the whole glass down. Like, it doesn't sound like a really resounding endorsement.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but this is the most sober she's been at the end of a show in months.
Well, that's accurate.
I don't know if it's a positive or a negative.
I haven't slurred my words, and I've made very cogent commentary.
Agreed.
You were able to use the word cogent without fucking it up. So, hey. So also,
but that's not an endorsement of an alcoholic beverage either.
That's true.
But I am drinking an alcoholic beverage, so that should tell you something right there. Because how many other times have I drank an alcoholic beverage and I sound like a fucking slurring drunk? Come on now.
All the other times.
All of them.
All the other times.
I'm not reading a Radcliffe. Megan likes to tease me.
Oh, hell no. Megan, no. Ain't happening. I don't want to hear about any throbbing female parts that are like men's parts. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to read it.
The elongate. We're just leave it at that. We're just going to leave it there. And on that note,
before we lose our audience, because that would be bad. All right. Thank you all for tuning in for our episode. And we recommend this story. And we're looking forward to our next read and having
whatever it is
in our houses, wherever, whatever, whenever.
Yeah.
So take care, everybody.
All right. Bye, Megan.